All right, cross watchers for Scorpio, welcome, welcome, welcome. We're going to see what is happening with Scorpio in the month of November. The love readings are going to be up in a couple of days, so keep an eye out for that if you are a Scorpio and you're wanting information for you. This is still a general reading. It may or may not resonate, and this is done with the energy of the cross watcher. Okay, so this is going to be done for the cross watcher, what the cross watcher needs to know, what is going to be beneficial, what is going to be helpful, what is going to be high vibrational for everyone involved. So we're going to go ahead and see what Crosswatcher needs to know about Scorpio for the month of November 2019. We're going back to the old school here with the decks. I have not used this deck in forever. This is a Doreen Virtue deck. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. But I like this because we can get deeper into like the emotional stuff that is happening. Okay. And so that's why I want to use it, so we can kind of dig a little bit. So the first card we have here is the wedding card, right? And when people see this card, they get excited, they get happy. They're like, ooh, yay, you know, wedding, engagement. And that can be a part of it, okay, my dear? But because I learned about this deck with Doreen Virtue and Radley Valentine, I went to their little workshop, and they were telling everyone in the class that they designed this deck with a very specific reason. It doesn't mean what you think it means when you look at it, right? Because it's marriage. And they said, look at the picture. Look how excited, look how happy she is, right? She's like, you know, ready to walk down the aisle. And he kind of has this look on his face like he's a deer in the headlights. Like he's afraid. He's like, oh, like, you know, he wants to make her happy. He wants to do this, but he's a little bit scared, okay? So some of you may be involved with a Scorpio, and you might kind of feel like, you know, they're not happy about taking the next step, or they're dragging their feet in taking the next step. They may be afraid. However, for the majority of you, I feel like you're dealing with a Scorpio where you have unresolved business, like something is unresolved and they seem to have moved on and they seem to be in another relationship. Either they've gotten married or there's talk about them getting married, but there's some cold feet here. There's some fear. There's some issues of commitment, okay? Those of you who are dealing with a higher vibrational Scorpio, they realize, they're awakening and they're realizing, wait a minute, I'm kind of afraid here. Like, why am I afraid? What do I need to do? What do I need to do to figure out, you know, what it is that maybe is making me feel a little bit boxed in, or a little bit stuck, or a little bit trapped, right? Because it's not that he, you know, it's not that he doesn't care about her. If he didn't care about her, he wouldn't have come this far, right? Like, he clearly wants to make her happy. He clearly wants to be there for her. But there's just like this feeling, this overwhelming feeling of being shut in. So you might feel like your Scorpio seems to be a little distant. And so they might just kind of need space to figure out their stuff. They might be feeling a little bit boxed in. That can be a little stressful for them. Okay. For other ones of you, you may be dealing with a Scorpio who's more in an energy of, you know, like I said, you guys have unfinished business, but they seem to have moved on to another relationship. If that's the case, even if they've gotten married, or even if it seems like they're about to get married, there's a good chance this relationship may not last, okay? They might kind of back out, or they might kind of realize, hey, I jumped the gun here and I really wasn't ready for this. So I just feel that this is just an overwhelming energy of like needing space, needing time. Your next card here, see, healing family issues. So sure enough, so as your Scorpio is digging into the layers here of what may be happening in terms of their commitment issues, or their fears, or their worries, we have healing family issues. Your love life benefits as you forgive your parents, okay? So your Scorpio might be working out some things with family right now. They may have family that's super duper overly involved in their business, all right? And so they might be kind of trying to set boundaries with that. Or they may feel like, you know, maybe that guilt in committing is they have this fear of like, if I commit to you, then I'm not going to be able to be there for my parents. Maybe they're dealing with aging parents. It's going to be different for different ones of you. But I do feel for many, 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 many of you, you're dealing with a Scorpio who's trying to heal, trying to get their life together. And when I say life together, that doesn't mean that they don't have good things in their life. It doesn't mean that they're not successful or they don't have accomplishments. But they're trying to heal through their stuff, right? And so a lot of them are seeing repeating cycles in their family line or generational curses, and they're trying to break out of those generational curses. And I feel some of you are dealing with a Scorpio who their main reason for being afraid or feeling trapped in the relationship is they have a fear of ending up like their role models growing up, their examples of relationships, their parents or grandparents or foster parents or mother or father or whoever raised them. You know, they may have seen certain relationships and they're very afraid of turning into that person or going through those same experiences. So I feel that your Scorpio may have family issues. Another thing I want to say to those of you that like you're with this Scorpio, you all are dating or you're married or you're together, like it's an established relationship. You know, depending on what part of the world that you live in, I know here where I'm recording in the United States, we're coming into the holiday season. So a lot of people are going to be around family a lot, and there may be family issues that are coming in. You, Crosswatcher, may be like, dude, Scorpio's family is out of control and they're toxic, and you may be trying to help Scorpio with that stuff, but Spirit is saying take a step back. Do not get involved because it's going to backfire on you. That's Scorpio's family. That's Scorpio's issue. Scorpio has to open their eyes when they're ready to open their eyes. But I feel like they are seeing it. You don't need to tell them. They're finally seeing it. And it's going to be their job to take the steps and to set the boundaries with family or friends or whoever that's like pulling on them too much or being too needy or being too much in their business, right? It's going to be up to them to kind of take that stand and clear this stuff out, okay? So if you try to go in and if you try to say, hey, this person's bad, that person's bad, or, you know, stay away from this one or that one, it's going to end up backfiring on you. So just be supportive. Be a good listener. If they want to talk about it, just be there. Just kind of acknowledge, yeah, I see that too. I totally understand. I totally get it. Oh my goodness, that's so hard. You know, what do you want to do? How do you want to deal with it? And just let them talk it out. Like be the person that they can just kind of vent to and hear themselves talking, and so that they can put two and two together. But I have to tell you, Crosswatcher, if you try to step in, it's not going to go well, right? Like it's going to backfire. Scorpio, you know, just be there for Scorpio. If Scorpio comes to you with it or is venting to you about it, be there for them. They're finally ready to set those boundaries, right? All you need to do is just hold space. Now here we have deception, okay? So there are some truths that are being revealed, okay? And for some of you, if you feel like the Scorpio hasn't been telling you something, this doesn't necessarily mean that you're dealing with a horrible liar or like a terrible person. It could just mean that like there may be certain parts of the story that haven't been revealed to you yet. For example, if you're still getting to know this person and if it's still kind of new, everybody does this. We're all guilty of it. When you're getting to know someone, you want to put that best foot forward, right? Chris Rock has a whole comedy a bit about it when he talks about how when you're dating, you don't go on a date, you send your representative, right? Like there's a representation of yourself that you're putting forward. So some of you where you're just kind of getting to know this person, I feel like this card is saying you're going to discover a deeper layer of Scorpio you didn't know was there. Or as they're dealing with family stuff, they might kind of tell you, hey, I got to tell you about something that happened when I was a kid, or I got to tell you about something in my family. They could be revealing some very deep family secret to you, and they're telling you because they trust you, okay? Again, Crosswatcher, I feel for those of you where you are going to hear this, like you are going to be so upset. right? Like you're going to want to, it's going to happen in two ways. For some of you, they're coming to you more like, especially if you haven't been in contact, they're coming to you because they're wanting to make amends, or they're trying to explain what their issues are or what their baggage is, right? And you might decide, you know what, I don't want Scorpio back. But, knowing this truth being revealed may kind of help you to get some closure or to heal or to realize that, okay, hey, maybe I don't want Scorpio back, but now I can kind of be sympathetic towards them and realize that they got some stuff to work through, right? And I'm not going to take what they did to me personally. That's on them. For other ones of you, those of you that like you're wanting to be there for this person, I do feel, because that family stuff came up, it could even be new to your Scorpio. Your Scorpio might be piecing two and two together and remembering things from childhood that maybe they had forgotten or that their family tried to keep from them. There could be some kind of a secret coming up involving their childhood or their family, and it may be a doozy. Okay, it may be a doozy. For other ones of you, those of you who are dealing with a newer connection and it's like hot and it's heavy and you're like, oh my God, like Scorpio is my soulmate and I've never felt this way with anybody else ever before, there could be very intense connection and you might feel like this is it, this is your soulmate. But the deception card will tell you that you may be taking a very intense physical, like a soul sexual kind of connection, and taking it to be like this is true love. That doesn't mean the relationship can't work out. It doesn't mean that you all can't end up being together. It just means that you need to pace yourself because there's other layers here. And that intense sexual physical chemistry, don't let that blind you into being like, oh my God, I'm in love, because there might be a long way to go to being in love, with this person if it's a newer connection. Because it's a general reading, it's going to apply in different ways, and I try to go over those different ways for you guys because not everybody is in the same exact scenario, okay? Next, here we have romantic feelings. So you have a bit of a roller coaster with your Scorpio. Next, here we have romantic feelings. Your feelings are real and worth exploring. So as the stuff is happening, as the stuff is coming up, we already said Scorpio may be having some fears about commitment and they might have family stuff going on. Maybe their family and their friends don't like you, Crosswatcher. Maybe their family and friends don't want you all to be together. That might have been one of the things that Scorpio was concerned about. But to have romantic feelings is real and worth exploring. That says that Scorpio is realizing, hey, maybe my friends and family don't like Crosswatcher because they're kind of toxic, and Crosswatcher is a different energy, and I kind of want to go into this better energy, and that's why they don't like Crosswatcher. So it's kind of a good thing they don't like Crosswatcher, right? Like they might be putting two and two together, but overall, this romantic feeling is going to prevail, right? Like this feeling of like being drawn towards each other. So if you had this thing where you feel like your partner was being distant, right? They're going to start warming up again. It might not be till like later in the month, but they're going to start warming up to you again. They're going to start becoming close again. They might just be processing memories or family stuff or whatever, but they're going to snap out of it and they're going to realize that they want to have this connection with you. Those of you where you have had this crazy like tension, like this sexual tension or this chemistry with a Scorpio, where you're just like, man, are they ever going to make a move, or are we ever going to end up, seeing where this goes? There's a good chance that maybe later in the month, they're taking a step and they're wanting to kind of see what's going to happen with you guys and really see where it goes. Now, see, this is different than the deception card, right? Because that's just very like hot and bothered kind of energy. But romantic feelings is like, wanting that romance, wanting the emotion, wanting, to be in that, that lovey-dovey, just enjoying each other and just focusing in on each other. It's not as primal, right? There's more of an emotional connection when we look at the romantic side of things. So your Scorpio is going to be making that transition for a lot of you. Now, Crosswatcher, this is a message for you, okay? This little cherub here in the corner jumped out at me. And it's like kind of like, you know, looking up at them. But it's more closer to this person here. I'm just going to say this lady, right? So in this scenario, I don't care if your Scorpio is male or female. I don't care if your Scorpio is male or female. I feel that in this instance, in this card, your person is being represented by the male, okay? By the one who's kind of coming up from behind and planting that kiss on her and like initiating, right? In this instance, in this picture, the male is initiating. So I don't care if your Scorpio is male or female. I feel your Scorpio is going to initiate, right? And you are receiving. You're open to it. You're like, oh, wow, yeah, finally. Okay, like we're doing this, right? But I feel this little cherub here, which is making me think of a child. I think this is about you and your child. Crosswatcher, I think when I say your child, your inner child, I mean, even if you have kids, I feel this is about your inner child, okay? So I feel like you have this really intense journey, Crosswatcher, that you're going to go with Scorpio, right? And Scorpio is just now figuring out all of their inner child stuff, all of their karmic family stuff. And you need to know something about a Scorpio, Crosswatcher. Scorpios are intense. And when they are committed, they are committed. I know people come on, oh, Scorpio is a cheater. Scorpio is this, Scorpio is that. There's cheaters in every sign, guys, right? But a Scorpio doesn't half-ass anything, right? If they're not feeling you, they're not going to give you a commitment. But if they're feeling you and they give you a commitment, it's a very intense one. And they're going to be very focused on you. And when they're with you, like, they're going to be very passionate towards you. They're going to be very, very into you. And so, Crosswatcher, you know, the same way Scorpio is going through their inner child stuff, their family stuff, I feel this connection, even though you may have been doing your work, Crosswatcher, and you may be in a good place emotionally, spiritually, I do feel your inner child is going to kind of get a little bit awakened here, and you might discover a couple of little layers or a couple of little cobwebs here that had gone past you about your own insecurities or your inner child stuff or your beliefs or fears around love and relationship from when you were younger, okay? So I just kind of feel, Crosswatcher, like you have a lot of inner child stuff going on, and so does Scorpio, and you guys are both together, coming together and trying to break out of your own generational curses together, right? Like, you know, Scorpio's not doing it for you, you're not doing it for Scorpio, but you guys are fighting your battle at the same time, side by side. That's what it feels like to me. So I do think a lot of you have a very intense soul connection with this person. So next here we have flirt, right? So this is going to be something that is going to be really kind of spicing up the relationship here, right? You might start off the month and you may feel like Scorpio may be a little distant or they may have their fears, but as they're moving towards you, as they're exploring the relationship, there's this flirty energy that's coming in. There's this playfulness, right? And this could be something that maybe your Scorpio needs, right? And, you know, they kind of might be dishing it back right at you, right? There's an energy of playfulness. So it says here, extend your light-hearted energy to others. So, you know, because Scorpio can be so very intense, you know, Crosswatcher, you may be trying to lighten the mood and bringing things more playful, or they may realize themselves that, hey, there's just been a lot of heavy stuff coming up this month, and there's been a lot of work, and I just kind of want to try to put it out of my mind for a little bit, and I just want to have fun and be in a happy energy. Crosswatcher, the advice for you with this card is this. Scorpios typically don't shy away from deep, meaningful, emotional conversations. If they trust you, if they know that they can trust you, and if they feel like you can understand, they will talk about that stuff all day, every day, if they're comfortable, okay? If they trust you. Now, they don't do small talk very well. And I can say this because I'm a Scorpio. They don't do small talk. Or, I mean, they can maybe manage, but they don't particularly enjoy it. But, you know, this Scorpio is coming in, and they have these intense energies. And so you might be like, man, I want Scorpio to open up and talk to me. I want Scorpio to tell me, right? And so either they might be really kind of opening up and telling you this stuff, and you might be like, man, I'm starting to feel like this is a bummer, or it's bringing me down, or they're not opening up at all, and you're trying to talk to them and you're trying to get them to open up. But that closeness that you're wanting, that warmth that you're wanting, it's going to come through the more playful energy, right? Especially if you're dealing with a Scorpio who's not opening up with you. If you can get them into an element where you guys are having a good time, and you're laughing and you're relaxed together and you're having fun, and you know there might be this flirtiness, this is how they're going to open up to you. This is how they can start kind of bringing that defense down, you know, letting the wall down and opening up to you and sharing things with you. People don't always open up in a serious moment when it's like, tell me what happened. You can trust me. I'm here for you. How did that make you feel? Like, that can make people shut down or pull back. But if they're laughing with you, if they're comfortable with you, you guys are bonding. You know, the more they're bonded with you, the more they're going to be open up and share things with you over time. Right? So this is kind of an advice for those of you where either you just need to lighten the energy between you guys, or you're trying to get this person to open up. All right, my dears. So it is a bit of a roller coaster, a bit of an emotional roller coaster here with Scorpio for this month of November. I'm going to do the Scorpio love reading and focus more on Scorpio's energy from their viewpoint. Like from, you know, just like their first person perspective. This is more like a bird's eye view. This is more like what Crosswatcher needs to know. And so we'll see how the information comes across when I do the Scorpio love reading for November in the next couple of days. But again, my dears, I thank you for watching, and I am wishing you a fabulous November.